Welcome to Dance Specific Talks. This podcast is made for us dancers, and our goal here is to inspire dancers from all over the world to become better, both on and off the dance floor. We want to provide you with a platform where we dancers can share and learn from each other. So let me introduce to you your host for this podcast, Teaser, and remember as always, by dancers, for dancers.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of your favorite dance podcast, Dance Specific Talks. Today, we are traveling all the way to Rotterdam as we are meeting no one else than the dancer and organizer, LEAL. So what do you need to know about LEAL? He's a popping dancer who comes from Rotterdam. You have maybe heard about Paparazzi Crew, but also that he is the program maker of Hip Hop House. Today, he is the director and organizer of an amazing battle event called International Dance League, an event which I had the honor to host this year. And we're gonna talk all about how it came to be, but also the visions for the future. Now, you already know what to do. Subscribe, like, share, and comment on our episode. You can find us on YouTube, but also Spotify, iTunes, and all your other podcast platforms. And now, let's get it going. All right, welcome to this interview, LEAL. Wow. I cannot tell you how happy I am to see you again. A couple of weeks ago, we saw each other in real life as you were the artistic director and the director in general for International Dance League. That is, get your applause out because that was an event.
Appreciate it.
How are you feeling? You had about a couple of weeks where you worked like 80 hours per week. How are you? Have you been able to rest? How are you feeling?
I haven't had really time off since then. I mean, the time off that I had, I was at different events. So it was kind of work, networking, but enjoying. But I'm doing good. I'm very, very proud of what we set down, what we created, what we caused. Also very nice to see like the effects already so short term after the festival, because now I see we formed different teams of people who didn't know each other before. And after the festival, so after they competed together as a squad, you can already see like people are traveling, meeting up with each other in Germany and France. One of the guys from France was here in Holland yesterday, just chilling with the new connections he made, or the girls were in Germany, chilling with their teammates that they didn't know before, cheering for their team captain, Alex the Cage, that won again, crazy. So those are like the things that give me energy when people come up to me and tell me about, this was really something different. It really brought people together. It really opened my mind to different connections or viewing different dances differently. So even though I haven't had like a lot of rest, this gives me energy to keep on going.
Yeah, for sure. Self-celebration is like one of the topics that keeps coming up more and more in my life of like, how do we make sure that we are celebrating our achievements? And as dancers, it's usually really hard because we look back at things that could be better rather than things that actually went well. And are those moments your way of self-celebrating, or do you actually have something you do for yourself personally to just go, LEAL, you made it work, like I'm proud of you? Do you have any of those self-celebration moments for yourself?
It's a topic for me. Like I do have like a lot of rituals, things that I do daily, like meditation, like exercise, like reading, and I also try to really sit still sometimes and be grateful for the things I have and the things I've done and the things I receive. I don't do that as consistently as I'd like to, but I do try. And basically, I'm kind of like an introvert and an extrovert at the same time. So I like to, do my ritual things, but then I also like to be around the people, and that energizes me too.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it is still a topic of, trying to keep balance, because I'm kind of a extreme person. So I'll like zoom in and get tunnel vision and keep on going, going, going. And sometimes it's also good to, just kick back, relax, and enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, for sure. I think I really hope that also COVID and this whole pandemic thing has, forced you a little bit to break and also look back at things. It also
Mhm.
makes us look back and appreciate past things, but also sometimes you realize like, whoa, like in my 20s, did I do all that? Like like it's been a decade now, more than a decade of dancing and being involved and stuff like that. And I also kind of want to go into that because International Dance League is like where you have come at now. But there was a long way to get there.
Sure.
When did dance become your main focus in life, and how did that happen for you?
Yeah. I have a kind of interesting, strange dance background, because um, I started dancing seriously very late. Like I just turned 20 when I really, started dancing. And before I was just, music videos, blah, 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 at parties, la, la, la. But that was like, um, yeah, almost 16 years ago. Um, and yeah, basically that was the moment that You Got Served just came out, the dance movie in what, 2004 or something. And I saw that, and then I was like, yo, this is crazy. I have to give this dance thing a try, because, their togetherness, what they can do with their bodies, take you in a different world. I really just wanted to feel that and try it. And that's like this first time I really took like a dance class in Hip Hop House by Lloyd Morengo. And after that, like my life just completely changed, like 180. And um, I started training every day, hanging out with new people, new friends, battling, performing. Um, and it went like super fast, because this was a very different time in Holland. The scene was a lot smaller. Um, so like in a year time, I did my first battle, and that was like a battle in called Spin-off. It was on Light Supply in Amsterdam, and like the whole scene was there. And my first style was popping, but I always did different things, but popping was my main style. And everyone was there, and like it was my first real battle ever. And I came through to the finals, and I almost won the whole thing. And it was like, yo, what is going on? I'm battling people doing this for years, the top of the scene, and if it wasn't for like a stupid mistake in the final, because I got ahead of myself and I literally did a move and fell on my butt. And I tried to cover it, but with my first battle experience, I wasn't there yet. And I remember my opponent called Raoul Richardson from Utrecht, like a very known dancer in Holland. He looked at me like, yep, there goes the final.
Oh.
And yeah, because I remember people were calling me, hey, it's okay, stop, it's enough. But I was feeling the music, I was going, ah! And then I went overboard. But yeah, so it went very quick for me. And um, from there, like you just start to grow. And the people that I came in, that I found in the first class that I started training with, the people that I looked up to, they became my crewmates and they became my
Mm.
friends. And because of that, because I was hanging around with people who were a lot farther than I was, that was why I grew so fast. And I was super hungry to learn. And I started traveling early, started connecting with people internationally early. And this was pre-Facebook, pre-Instagram, even
Yeah.
YouTube wasn't really a thing.
No.
And that's why um, it was a very fun time. It was very different than nowadays,
Yeah.
because nowadays it's a lot easier to get information and connect with people. But back then it was kind of like the Wild West. Like we were just discovering, When I started
100%.
popping was electric boogie. And it's
Yeah.
really my generation and the people around me, we really, brought the term popping and yeah, it was very interesting to see things come up. Like even like house in the Netherlands, I saw it like come up because the first real house dancers in Holland were like my clubbing friends. So I was in the club and that's how I learned house. I never really took house classes, but I was around it. So it felt very organic or something. And
Yeah.
now it's like a thing, house. And then it was like, yeah, that thing we do when we dance in the club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I
Interesting.
mean, for me, every dance style is, especially, from for us that comes from the hip hop genre, like
Yeah.
every style is very different and it attracts different people. What
Yeah.
was it with popping in particular that made you fall in love with that specific style? And what do you think popping has taught you as a person?
Ooh, that's deep. Yeah, for me it was like I love so many styles, and literally, like people sometimes call me like a encyclopedia because like I can tell you about, okay, they started there, they came from there, because I really appreciate dance first and foremost. So whatever music you put on, I'll switch to that style. But what put put me on popping in the first sense is like basically the feeling of being able to take someone into your world, into your imagination. Basically, the feeling of being a freaking superhero and being able to create an illusion or something that people thought like this is not physically possible. Like that's literally what drew me to popping. Um, and it's so, it's so diverse. There's so many sub styles within the style. Basically, popping is not really one style,
No.
a lot of styles combined, and that's what drew me first into popping. But to be honest, I've always, been listening to different music styles, been appreciating different dance styles. um, like my parents are from the Cape Verdean Islands, so I always had like Cape Verdean, Angolan, Brazilian, all kinds of African music around me. um, So yeah, even Kizomba, like all those influences, I always heard them. And growing up in Rotterdam in the Netherlands, um, in one of the most, and basically the most mixed city in the country, and also one of the mixed neighborhoods in that city, I always had like different influences, whether it be like Surinamese, Curacao, Moroccan, Turkish. So I always heard those music because I grew up around dancehall music, hip hop music. So even like I remember like being 5, 6 years old listening to dancehall because that was normal, or listening to freaking Tupac in elementary school before I'd go to school. That was normal. Like we used to
Mm.
do this thing called bobbeling, which is like an old school Dutch style. And those were like the first real dances I saw. And that was kind of like a mix of dance hall with popping, breakup type thing. So I was always around different influences. So I think that also kind of drew me in to different
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, no, I think it's always so interesting to know like what make you fall for a style, because yes, as naturally it would be dance hall, maybe in your case, that
Mhm.
would be
True.
your choice of
Yeah.
style. But there is
Yeah.
something with popping in that magic that it's around it that attracts certain people. And as you mentioned
Yeah.
before, uh, the little I have actually got to know you, you are a person that has that tunnel vision
Mhm.
and can be very focused.
Mhm.
And that is something that is super required of popping. It's not just a style you go out and you learn in the club. No, you have
Yeah.
to practice on your own a
Yeah.
lot.
For sure.
So I always find popping people very fascinating.
Helping people.
um, so you started that journey, you had Lloyd as a mentor, you started in a crew, and what you also mentioned that, like you helped the style together with your crewmates to develop in the Netherlands. Then hip hop house came around as well as one of these things to bring the culture forward. Was that a goal of yours too, to be a part of something like that? Or how did you get involved in the creation of Rotterdam's, biggest hip hop dance institutions, kind of?
Yeah. So basically, a lot of people think I'm one of the creators of Hip Hop House, but actually, I'm a Hip Hop House child because I started there myself. But when I came into Hip Hop House, it was just 3 years old. Yeah, not even. Yeah, just 3 years old. And next year, it's turning 20. So that's pretty sick. Um, and basically, what happened is like, a lot of people talk about, okay, Rotterdam is very strong in hip hop culture and also specifically in dance culture. And a lot of people talk about, okay, but why is that? Like, why are so many heavy hitters from Rotterdam? Why do you feel like this connectedness? Like when Rotterdam is at an event, it's really like Rotterdam is here. And like, like we're the hypest, we're the this and that. And um, I think it's a lot of reasons. It's the city itself, but also hip hop has contributed to that. And so I always give a shout out to, Lloyd, Aruna, Benny, the creators. And for me, I'm literally a result of the hip hop has formula because I came in and it wasn't just that, like, it wasn't just a dance class. You really came into the community, you really came into a family, and people really invested in you, in not just movement wise, but mentally. Like the hip hop mindset of do it yourself. Like if you want something, you can learn about it, you can work on it, and you can create it. Whether that be in dance, whether that be like freestyle, whether that be in a battle, in a performance, in an event, in an organization, and also whatever you learn, you can take it and apply it to other things in your life. So for me, because of hip hop culture, because of hip hop has, because of the people around me, from my crew, paparazzi to the whole like Dutch scene, it inspired me so much, and I became like a more wholesome person also outside of my dance, because people who know me before dance knew me differently. Like I was a lot more quiet and not as ambitious and passionate as I became after I started dancing. And that started to like, leak in or influence the rest of my personality. And um, basically what happened in Hip Hop House is um, after a certain point, like I was already dancing, performing, battling, I started teaching and with my crew and everything. And I always was interested in bringing people together. Um, and also in school, I was doing different things with entrepreneurship, with marketing, this and that. So I already had an interest for that. And back home, my parents always were like these kind of community builders. They brought a lot of people together. My dad loved organizing things, and basically our home was kind of like almost like a community center club. Like every weekend, all these people would come over to our house. So I had a lot of these influences, and I loved the idea of, organizing an event, organizing a workshop, organizing a party. And then in Hip Hop House, they started giving me chances to do that. And because they also already saw me doing these things. And after a certain point, they were like, oh, you're organizing all these things outside and inside. Why don't you come become a part of the organization and become a programmer here? And then I got into like the office team, because before that I was a student. Then I became like, our crew became like one of the, how do you say? Like we became really the Hip Hop House crew, one of the main Hip Hop House crews. And then I became a teacher, and then I got this program role in the office. And then from there, it only grew until I basically became like the artistic right hand of Aruna, who is like the director of Hip Hop House. So a lot of times, like when Aruna wasn't available, or even when she was available, I kind of became the spokesperson of the organization to the outside also, and also the connection to a lot of the communities. Because it took over my life. And basically hip hop culture, the scene has been my full-time life for over 10 years. Like I have no other job or than in hip hop. It's my personal life. It's my work life. Um, it's kind of weird sometimes when I say this, but yeah, it is.
And how do you find a balance there? Because it is one thing, or do you find a balance? Maybe that's more of a question.
You use the V word. Well,
the balance.
Yeah.
No, because I completely feel you with this, since I've been trying many times to be like, oh yeah, but yeah, maybe I should go and take an education so I have something to fall back on, because this whole scare of like, what do you, if you break a leg, like you cannot dance anymore and you have no life. And then so I went to university and then I got my degree, and then suddenly, as soon as there was time for an internship, went straight back to dance and culture and art scene. And as soon as I got out of there, was straight back. And I, as you have done a lot of different work, but it's always kind of came back to it. It's like it's impossible to get to kind of feel like you would like to have another job, because it's just, it's your passion, it's what you want to work with, but it's also your entire network. So it's hard to get out of. How have you worked with this balance of job, spare time, passion, hobby, all of that?
Yeah, so the easy part for me, and I say easy, but it wasn't really easy because I worked hard for it, but the easy part is because like my passion became my work. So I didn't really feel like I needed to balance work and private life because it kind of combined. So I never, like, I don't wake up with the feeling of, oh, I have to, go to work today or do this or do that, because I did what I wanted to do. So that was the easy part. The more difficult part is sometimes when your passion becomes like your career, the fun aspect can get a little bit lost, because before it was your escape, like you did such and such and such, and then in your free time you were like, now I go dance or make music or make a painting or whatever it is you want to do. But when the dancing, because before I did the organizing, the managing, the advising, which is a lot of what I do now, I used to dance full time. But when dance becomes your full-time work, then what do you do to disconnect? Do you still dance then? Yeah. For some people, it works that way. For me, sometimes like, when you're performing here, you're performing there, you're doing this, you're doing that. Sometimes it's still good to, find a little bit variation or find something else. Especially in my position, because when you also start organizing everything and all of your friends are in the scene, you notice that the dynamics get different, because we could be hanging out somewhere and maybe someone, I don't know, has to be somewhere teaching or performing, and that person will be hanging out somewhere and you're there and you're like, and then they feel like, oh wait, but Leal is kind of my employer or my boss. So that dynamic is different. There's kind of like this different power dynamic, because before, if someone made a joke or you came into an argument or a discussion, you're like this. But now it's the person that's giving you jobs and paying you. So then that kind of makes it difficult sometimes. But yeah, to get back to your question of balance, it's an ongoing thing. And for me, before I did a lot. Now I still do a lot of different things, but it was even more, because I'd still be dancing myself, I'd be judging, I'd be teaching, and then I'd be organizing events and workshops, and then I'd be managing hippopies, and then I'd be organizing club parties, and then I'd even be doing some modeling on the side, and I'd be there, and it was too much. And after a certain point, I felt like, I'm spreading myself too thin. And I was really talking to a lot of people, and I've been lucky to have like mentors and friends I can really talk to about this. And I felt like, okay, I have to start letting go of certain things and really focus on the things that bring me the most value, and also where I can bring the most impact.
Yeah.
And basically the idea of International Dance League was basically created because of this also. Before I also had a booking agency. It was ridiculous. I was all over the place. And then I started thinking, okay, I'm doing a lot of these different things and they all give me joy. But I'm spreading myself thin, as I said. So I can give a little bit of impact there, a little bit there, a little bit there. But how can I do less and make a more big gesture that really impacts the scene, that really changes the dance world, instead of doing all these small things? And then I started thinking, and my passion first and foremost is the dance itself. It's freestyle. It's mostly the battle scene. I love performing, but these communities really are centered for me more about the parties and the battles and the such and such. And then I started thinking about, okay, how can I do like one big thing that really makes a change? And that's how I started thinking about, International Dance League, creating something that really brings people together, that gives dancers more opportunities, um, that brings in a broader audience, and also that professionalizes, brings more structure into this world, because these dance styles are so popular, but for some reason, the people doing them aren't growing, in freedom-wise or financially, or recognition-wise. They're still hustling, doing this, doing that. And that was also the point, I think, that I started to let go of Leal Larazzi, the dancer, the performer, a little bit, to become more Leal, the organizer. Um, because I felt like I could make more of a change as an organizer, where we need more than as a dancer, because we have a lot of dancers. We have a lot of amazing dancers, but we don't have as much amazing people building the organization side, which I felt like that's what we need the most right now. Because if everyone is wanting to be on stage, who's going to be the person making sure there's a stage to stand on?
Exactly. Boom. That was like a mic drop out. I think that is really, you're touching on some really interesting subjects here, because as you say, as an organizer, you do have the power to create that space for those connections to happen, for people to get a broader network, but also the way that Dutch Dance League from the first year grew into International Dance League was a huge step as well. Like it's an, of course, an ongoing process to create the perfect event, if there is actually anything like that. But what I saw, because I was there just as a dancer. Exactly. I was dancing the first year, and I was, very happy to be the host for this year's edition. When you were starting this, how did you even think about the financial part of it? Because I have never seen a battle with the magnitude of prize money and organization and counting system and all of this. Like, it's really a next level event. Where did this this particular drive come from, that no, actually dancers are going to not get a 50-euro gift card if they win? We're talking about a lot of prize money, and it's making a huge difference. But where did that come from for you in the organizational part?
It's a good question. I think like I said before, I can be a very extreme person. Like I when I do something, I want to do it big, and even dance wise, that was always our mind state. Like with my crew, like if you asked a lot of dancers, like, what is your biggest dream? People would say, yeah, I want to dance behind Chris Brown or Usher or this or that. their biggest dream was to be a backup dancer. And in my mind, or in our mind, that was, no offense to the people that believe that, because like doing that and touring the world still seems amazing. But for us, it was like, my biggest dream is not to be a dancer behind the artist. I am the artist. Our biggest dream was, we want to be that artist and tour the world, and maybe someone can come sing for us, instead of the other way around. So even with like paparazzi back then, weren't winning big events in the scene, but also performing on big stages on TV and whatever. And after a certain point, at events or festivals, mainstream festivals, we would be put on the lineup next to the singers and the rappers, instead of, just being a backup dancer. So it already started there, because of who we were, because of how we really believed in this hip hop mindset of, coming from nothing and creating a whole lot. So it started there. And I think it's also a personality trait. And event-wise, like I said, I was really thinking of how can it be possible for these dance styles to be the most popular dance styles in the country, the most popular music styles in the country, but we don't have like a giant event. Like, how can it be that a football player can earn millions for playing football matches? A rapper can earn millions for performing, and a dancer cannot at least earn a few thousands for battling.
Yeah.
That idea was strange to me, and so that's why I started thinking big. And in the beginning, to be honest, I wasn't thinking as like I was thinking right now, because the idea for, Dutch Dance League and International Dance League already was conceived years before the event took place. There was like years of planning and but even then, like we thought big for regular team scene standards. And I had the luck of having a lot of people around me, also outside of the scene, that believed in me, and that really advised me and helped me. And I sat down with them, people within finance, within marketing, within just entrepreneurship in general, people within the scene, without the scene. There was also this, it's not really a prize, but they basically named the 5 cultural entrepreneurs of the future of Rotterdam. And I was one of those 5. And because of that,
self-celebration. Yes.
yeah.
I hear it.
And that's really because of, everything, because of what I've done in Hippo Pass, what I've done with my crew in and outside in the scene.
Yeah.
And when I got in there, I came into this project where they really invested in my mind. They flew me over to like this Congress in Austria, where we connected with a lot of global people. And there were different people, projects, things that kept on feeding my mind. And then I started thinking, working on this plan, and people outside of the scene would be like, oh, so you want to give people, I don't know, you want to make this like 10,000 prize money? Why are you thinking that small? Shouldn't be like 100,000? And to me, it was like, what? Like for us in the scene, even like 2,000 is a lot. Like who does 2,000?
A lot.
And then like my mentality started switching. And also, I read a lot, I watch a lot of YouTube videos by these big people, blah, blah, blah. And I really started to be like, yo, no, I have to think bigger, bigger, bigger. And then I started thinking big. And I started creating a bigger network with these entrepreneurs, these foundations, these investors who are used to like investing hundreds of thousands of euros or millions of euros. and that's how my mindset started changing. And I remember when I got like my first big investment, it was like, yo, like I couldn't believe it. Like uh, um, this
Because it
thing
takes
I
a
was
lot
thinking,
of work with the
it took a lot
foundations
of work.
and applying and the
Yeah,
applications that
yeah,
is like endless, tireless writing, trying to describe the impact that it can actually have without it has happened yet. Like it's so much work behind the scenes that people don't know about.
people do not
And
know.
yeah,
Yeah. It's a lot of responsibility also. Um, yeah, it's crazy. But also, you know, by working in hip hop has also getting used to working with bigger budgets, also working for big companies like whether that be like Red Bull or the notorious IBE, a big festival. It kind of got me used to thinking bigger, and that's how we got where we got. And now it's almost the other way around. Like sometimes I have to like like yo, take a step back, yo, Lay, take it easy. Don't go overboard, you know? But that's the problem I'd like to have
yeah,
of thinking too big, because I realized too big doesn't really exist.
no.
And that's also something from an early age, like I said before, you know, I grew up in Rotterdam. I grew up in one of the poorest neighborhoods in the country. Um, and that's something I really saw around me a lot, like this limited thinking, like, okay, you came from little and you'll never become a lot more than this. And I remember when I went to, what's it called in English when you go, was it high school? I think it was high school. But anyways, after elementary school, um, like I was one of the kids that could study better and perform well in school. And after that, I went to a completely different school than everyone else in my neighborhood. And this was this school where you basically only the rich kids, the rich white kids in Rotterdam went to. And when I got there, that was like when the first seeds were planted, where I realized that, yo, these kids grow up with a whole different mindset than we do. Because where I come from, they're like, yeah, maybe you can go and work, you can start cleaning somewhere, or you can become like this mechanic in a garage, or you can do this or that. Nothing wrong with that. Um, but when I got to that school, these kids were growing up with the mindset of their parents were telling them, oh, you want to become an astronaut? Oh, sure. Why not?
Mm.
You want to become a judge, or you want to become director of the bank? Yeah, just study hard. And when the time is there, I'll put in a few phone calls with a few friends of mine and you'll get the job. It was completely different. And that was like the first culture shock. And I needed a lot of that. And I sometimes still do to get where I'm at now, where you know, I can dream big and I can think big, but also I can break it down into concrete actions and really make it happen. Because dreaming something is one thing, but actually making it happen is a whole different ballgame. It's a whole different
Absolutely.
ballgame.
And what is like one of your proudest things about this year's edition of International Dance League? And where are your visions for it, like in 5 years?
Yeah. One of the proudest things, to be honest, like it was a few weeks ago, and I'm still like realizing what the frick we actually did. Um, um, for me, it was like just like you said, like we made a very big jump from 2019 Dutch Dance League to International Dance League, and Dutch Dance League was already like an insane concept in the scene. Like people, it was already like a certain magnitude, uh, like 20,000 euros prize money. We've never seen anything like that in Holland. And even like outside of the country, it's like people are like, yo, whoa, what the frick? And that's just like one element, like bringing people together, providing them, you know, a place to stay, studios, food, workshops, clothing. There's so much that goes into this. But yeah, let me not get derailed again. But basically, one of the things I'm most proud of is just making that jump, and especially having this crazy high level lineup of the world's finest, literally, world champions, um, and having the courage to do that in a time like this, in a pandemic, and also being able to connect the world's finest with a lot of young, upcoming dancers in Holland, and really having them connect with, you know, their idols, people that if it wasn't for this, maybe they wouldn't have met in the coming 5 or 10 years or even ever, you know. And now these people are connected with each other, they have each other's phone numbers, they're like friends, they meet up with each other, and really inspiring those people. And actually, like one of our DJs, Yuxon, who's also like a legend in France as a dancer, he was also telling us like, this event really isn't about, you know, the prizes and this. It's dope, it's amazing, but it's really about the seeds that are being planted for the future.
Yeah.
Because these people, and I'm already seeing it now, people that in the scene were really nobodies. I mean, nobody's a nobody, but you get what I mean. And after the event, already starting to, you know, open their mind, and also already starting to perform better at other events, or, you know, it's crazy. It's
So
crazy.
fast, so fast. And just to
Yeah.
mention a few things from the battle for the people who wasn't there, like it was not only, as you say, about the prize money, but people that has never seen each other gets to be in teams together, where it's not only that the team captains pick them, which is a huge honor itself to be picked by a big artist, but every team had teenagers, every team had both male and females,
Yep.
and every team had local Dutch dancers
Yeah.
mixed with international dancers.
Yeah.
So the whole concept is also about there is something bigger to strive for than just creating dope dance battles, which I really, really appreciated. Like you are not only taking the role as let's create these unique connections, because back in the days, you would have to maybe meet each other on 5 to 10 different battles, and in the ciphers be like, oh, I recognize you from this event. And maybe you get a phone number, and maybe that comes into a connection. Here, you're like, boom, you get picked, you're in the same team now, you never met each other, you had 2 weeks to train, create routines, showcases, and to become like team spirited, which is like a acceleration and get it more context. But also you on top of that took the forefront of, we need more generational connections, we also need more females to be up there as well in a more of a male dominated scene. And so I also want to like just add that on top of it, to salute you for that, because as a battle organizer, there's already a lot of things that you need to cover. So to also take that in consideration is big, and to also place it as a statement in the biggest theater of Rotterdam, not some kind of outskirt venue, you know, but actually in the middle and the biggest place, is also showing these dancers that I belong there. And it's not about where I grew up and the closest theater, but it's actually, I belong on the biggest stages, and this city has these theaters also for me. That is a gap that overbridging representation, diversity as well. So you know, like,
keep
I'm
going,
sorry,
keep
I just had to like add that on top for the people who wasn't there to see it. And also, not only that, but you also managed to bring in a female DJ Julani on top of it. And afterwards we have this little party where like all the you know, the people that also brought in the money could see the dancers and mingle around and be able to ask the dancers, and me included, like, why is this battle different from other battles? We have never seen a dance battle before, and we get to tell them
Yeah.
you have just invested in this,
Yeah.
which is giving us this and this and this.
Yeah.
So my previous question was also
I very
where
much
we
appreciate
go.
everything you just said, because it's very, very, very true. And sometimes, um, like I said, there goes so much thought and conversations and everything into this that sometimes you're so deep into it that you can't even tell, like, these are all the things I put into it because you're so deep into it. So I really appreciate that, because that's super important. Like what you said also about uh, uh, the generations, the representation in different spaces, claiming our space, also including more females. These are all very deliberate decisions that aren't always understood,
Yeah,
because sometimes, because we literally put in like female artists in every, like whether it be the DJs, the hosts, the judges, the captains, the whatever. And sometimes even within our scene, people didn't understand. People were like, why did you put her there? Because you could put him. And I'd literally have to tell them, like, it's not always just about that,
yeah,
because if we think that way, we're actually thinking the same way that the people that are sometimes excluding us.
exactly,
Representation
exactly.
really matters. Um, and I'm super grateful that you added that, because um, for someone who from on the outside first seeing maybe something or hearing about this concept, they might think, oh, it's just a very big event with big production, big marketing, big prize money, blah blah blah, and it's only big, 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 and battle, battle, battle. But it's so much more than that. And also, like, I mean, I was talking to a few of the artists, people like Francois, Frankie D, Alex the Cage, and they really told me, uh, um, for this festival, it's not about being this big famous dancer. It's not about, oh, I want this, I want just the boo, I want summer dance forever, I want this, I want that. No, it's about, you have to put your ego aside and you have to be open, because it's a human experience.
It
It's a
is, and
human experience. And
it
even
really
for
was.
yeah, and even for these guys, they sometimes got uncomfortable because they're used to, okay, I'm carrying this myself, I can do this, I can do that. But they got uncomfortable because now it wasn't about that. It was about making connections. And when it's about the human connection, there is no this or that battle wise. It's about being open, connecting, this and that. And so in that sense, even for them, it was a new experience for them to learn in.
Yeah,
So yeah.
it's really challenging the professional aspect of, most of the time as dancers, when even if we get booked to a commercial gig or whatever, we are not always, most of the times, never get to pick who we're working with.
Yeah,
And this is also good training as well, of like,
sure.
how professional are these team captains? How
Yeah,
can they bring it together and making everyone feel validated and seen, and how can we create a team spirit within a very short amount of time that
yeah,
is going to be valuable, not only for the dancers in the group, but for the team captains as leaders, as
yeah.
figures as well. And one of, also sidetrack here, but one of actually the most valuable moment for me as a host, but also as a female host, was in the pre-selection.
Mm,
Even though this was a cause of COVID, that we had to separate dancers into smaller groups, we had to bring in, like, okay, here are this amount of male adult dancers, female
yeah,
adult dancers, and teenagers. Actually, what it created was a union between
mm,
those two. When we brought in all those teenagers,
mm,
it was not about teenagers dancing and trying to impress grown-ups. It
mm,
was teenagers cheering for themselves and their generation, which
yeah,
was very beautiful to see. And when it came to the females, it was actually super powerful to see a room full of females
mm,
battling and sharing to a female DJ playing tracks that we could relate to, but also where queens support queens. And it was not about we have to be in our masculine energy to impress the male dancers, but it was about we have an experience here and it's only us. And that created something else too. Even though it was a COVID restriction thing, I also wanted to just lift that as an aspect because it was different and it was very powerful. And it made me feel that this is something that could be valuable for future events too, to separate some of the pre-selections, because the comfortable level of I'm allowed here and I can take my space fully, it was different. So I also wanted to add that.
Awesome. I hadn't heard that before. So that's amazing.
Yeah. And, you know, like we grew up with being just a boo, being the biggest competition, selling out like a full arena, 18,000 people in the audience. Do you feel like International Dance League and your work within creating a dope battle event, is that kind of where you want to head? Is like the arena with a lot of people in the audience your vision, or is it something else?
It's a good question. Yeah, like for sure, like Just the Boo was one of my earliest like inspirations for getting into the scene. And if we want to move in the same direction, like we do want to reach a much larger audience, whether that will be in an arena, it's an interesting thought. Maybe it could maybe also be in a different way. For me, like the main focus is reaching a big audience, and there's different ways to do that. And that's something I'm still, one thing I haven't told people yet is there has been interest from television companies to broadcast this event, which is crazy because this was only the second edition. And like we're really thinking about it, like, okay, what is the best way to go about this, where you still keep the essence of what makes this special, but still you want to reach that bigger audience, because the vision is in the future to really basically, I looked a lot at the big sports competitions, because I mean dance is art first and foremost. It's culture, of course, but when we battle, it's a form of competition. And when you look at the biggest competitions, you end up in sports. That's just how it is, which does not mean that dance is sports, but it has a competition sport-like element when you battle. That's the whole thing. What I'd love to see is that people are able, just like a football player, to have their regular battles for a big audience, to have their regular income, to be really celebrated as the artists and the athletes that they are, and also to be presented in that way, you know? Not, as you said, oh, I'm a dancer, I go to the battle around the corner in this small little place, and we all fought so hard for this, and the winner goes away with the 50-euro gift card. But really to be put on a pedestal, like, yo, these are our heroes, our champions. And that doesn't take anything away from the smaller events, the community events, the jams. I think those still need to be there. I'm just choosing to take a different position of a type of event that I'm missing up until now, because I think we need the diversity in our events also. Yeah. You know, so that's what I would want to have, like having battles every month, having like a full season, really having an audience follow a team, like a journey through a whole season, that you really, oh, this is my team, and they're battling that team this time, and then they're battling that team. And oh, people wanting to get into a team, or people being, the whole sports system to me is crazy. Like what you see in football teams, basketball teams, I'd like to see that also in our league, but still keep the community aspect, you know, the cultural aspect. And I think it's possible.
Oh,
Uh,
100%.
and whether
100%.
it's going to be the big arena thing or the big TV studio thing, it's still open. But what's most important for me is like the rest of the country, the rest of the world, the broader audience, for me has to know, like, artistically, culturally, community-wise, on a human level, what is so special about these communities. These communities, I mean, I also said it at the event, like hip hop gave me a home, as someone who was born and raised in a country where I was not the norm, where I was a minority, where I didn't feel like I was literally equal. And it's not even just my feeling. Now we know, like factually, we people of color are not being treated equally as white people. And to find a culture and communities where I could be the norm and where I could be equal or I could excel as much as anyone else. That's what hip hop gave me, and a lot more. And I think, like, in the world, we're looking for things to connect. We see a lot of people ending up in groups, and I really think that hip hop is a tool, and it has been a tool, um, for people to really focus more on what unites us instead of what separates us, whether there be skin color, income, background, whatever. In hip hop, I see like, oh, you're also a dancehall dancer, you're also a popper, you're also a breaker. Oh, cool. What do you do? I do that too. And then you see people who would usually never connect with each other, you see them connect. And you see the people, the underdogs, literally get the power to become celebrated and to become like the heroes. That's what happens in hip hop.
Yeah.
Which other culture do you know where people celebrate the fact that they come from nothing? They're from the hood, and it's a cool thing, you know? And I think the unity aspect, that's why also I made it such an important aspect of the competition, the unity aspect.
Exactly. And we could have another brainstorm meeting about this, but when I envision like a future international dance league, I can still see how the actual pre-selections can be regular battle where you keep the essence, and just like Just a Boo was, back in the days that, it came to Sweden and whoever won there will then go to the final. It was Japan, it was this and that. And I still see that is a really nice form. And then when it comes to the final, whatever inspiration, so you think you can dance, but actually like where you keep art into the stage, but it's still a competition, whatever it is, I still think it can happen. 100%. And
that's actually also part of the plan. First, we want to start organizing more qualifiers nationally. It's kind of a secret, but it's already going to happen. And then we're thinking of going internationally, having qualifiers in different countries. And maybe, who knows, maybe someday you'll have a dance league in Holland, in France, in Germany, in the UK.
And the final is in the Netherlands.
For example, so we're really trying to think of how we can create something that has continuity, not just like 1 month or one period of 2 weeks, but that's literally going an ongoing thing throughout the year, so it can grow more. And we also need that, so there's a lot of different options. It's a huge vision, and it's hard now to really fully understand, like, okay, how do we get there? But you just take it step by step, and sometimes big steps, preferably. And we just see, where
exactly. And even sometimes in the future, the team captains that are also from different countries can be the organizers of International Dance League also in their countries, because you need to grow that team. That's one of the whole thing as well. So there's just endless possibilities, and I'm so honored to be a part of this year's journey, and I hope I will be a part of all the upcoming years, because it's such a dope event, and I really love what you created. And I also kind of want to know, like, personally, how has it changed you? Take away Lial the dancer, take away Lial the organizer, but just you as a person. How has this experience made you grow?
That's a good question. Sometimes it's still crazy to me that I don't know, like where I come from, like my life is kind of like, I mean, if you made like a movie or a documentary about my youth up until where I'm now, it will be crazy. And like for me, I really proved to myself that I literally can do or be anything I want to put my mind to. And it's not just a thing, not just a quote. I really believe that. I'm a very critical person when it comes, especially to myself. I have very high ambitions and I expect a lot from myself. And it really made me feel like, okay, yo, you're valuable. And the most important thing for me is like, I want to make the people that believed in me, I want to make them proud, you know, and give back to the culture and the people that gave me so much. And some people don't even realize how much they really gave me. But it literally feels like I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. And also now seeing like people that I either taught or inspired or were a part of one of my events, seeing them grow and also hearing from them, yo, this exact moment was where it clicked for me. Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. Like
That's
I don't have children,
yeah.
but that almost makes me feel like, yo, I contributed to this growing, and I'm curious to see like where those people take it, you know? Yeah.
100%. That's what they call legacy, man. Legacy is the
Yeah.
word for that.
Legacy is the word for real.
And it's not about, how many kids we produce in this world, but it's how many lives we touch on our way, and
Exactly.
what's going to be there as a memory when we're not here anymore. And I think that what you have already started is already a legacy in itself, changing the game and showing that it can be done differently, showing it can be done by someone like you with your background.
Sure.
It's like that effect of, oh, he came from my neighborhood and he did all that.
Yeah.
What say I have to strive for the shortest, achievement. It can actually inspire other people, just not even you seeing them, but just you being you. So I want to say, amen. Salute yourself because it's not only about us, it's about whatever seeds we're planting. And for sure, you have done that. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that.
All right. Well, we could talk forever about this. I feel like it's so much to talk about. In the end of my interviews, though, I always have the hardest part, which is called fill in the blanks, where I ask you short questions and you have to answer with one word or maximum an end of a sentence. Whatever comes to mind, the first answer is your answer. Yeah?
Okay.
Let's try it.
No pressure.
Okay. When I stand on stage, I always try to show.
Endless possibilities.
Boom. When I am teaching new students, I want to give them.
the feeling that they can be anything they want to be.
Boom. When I'm in my zone dancing, I feel
free.
the best advice I ever got was
believe in yourself, work hard, and play hard.
And the last one, if you could say anything to upcoming organizers like yourself, what would your advice be?
Always be a student, humble yourself, learn, take advice, take risks.
Hey, wisdom from Yoda himself, Leal from Rotterdam. Hey, if people want to find more information about you online, if they want to follow your journey, where can they find you? The mic is yours.
Yeah. You can find me Leal_Arazzi on Instagram, Facebook. Usually if you just spell Leal, Leal, I'll pop up first. You can go on internationaldanceleague.com, hiphophuis.nl, and I'll probably be launching my personal website soon.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. Big applause. A round of applause for Leal out there in the Spotify, iTunes podcast world. Thank you so much for taking your time and hanging out with me this morning. And I wish you a blessed rest of the day. And I hope to see you very soon again.
Thank you very much. And shout outs to you because like I can tell by the way you ask your questions, the things you add, you're really coming from a very good place, a very pure place. Yeah, for real. Like, you're really good at this. I can tell, and I believe you should keep on doing this and giving other people a stage, because I can tell like this is your thing. Yeah.
Oh, that makes me so happy to hear, man. Don't forget to click subscribe, comment below, and give us a rating or review. We have a Facebook page, YouTube page, and we are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and all the other podcast platforms. We also have an Instagram, so don't forget to tag us in your favorite episode and share it with the world because we read all of it.